And I watch companies do this. That's why I'm bringing, they'll only buy below what's order point. And tomorrow, what happens with this? It goes below order point, so I need to replenish for service, but yet I don't want to buy every 30 days, and I already placed the PO yesterday. Now, some of you play the game the first couple days. You call the vendor and get it added on because they haven't shipped yet, right? Yeah, I see the head shake. Yeah. But that's not where we wanted to be. We should have said, hey, these are the things we must buy for service because we're down to the below order point. But now what this point serves as a second line that says, when I get ready to go, think about me going to the grocery store. If I've got 3 gallons of milk in my fridge, does that mean I don't need to buy milk? Or do I still need to buy 4 gallons worth? Because I don't want to come back till Saturday, so I'm saying, what else would go, even though I have stuff? Would it go below order point before I plan on coming back? And if so, it has to come out on today's PO, not next week's, because it's going to go below order point before I plan on coming back. So this becomes the includes. The system's way of looking out and saying, hey, I'm getting ready to place a PO. I'm not coming back for 30 days, so I have to look for any items that are going to go below order point within this cycle, the next 30 days, and include them in my purchase order. So that's the what items. So the below order point's what kicks me in the butt to place a PO. It says I've got a worthy item that's gone below order point. I need to buy for service. Then I'm saying, when do I plan on coming back to the supplier? Oh, I'm not coming back for 30 days, so I want to get at least 30 days above the order point. Then I'm doing one more thing. I'm going, are there any other items that are going to go below this order point before I plan on going back? And if so, I need to include those on today's PO. So this profits how much and the what is really my profit world. Because how? I'm trying to balance and get the lowest freight versus cost to carry so far. Everything that I've talked about here has been what's going to give me the lowest total cost to carry and freight. Service was dictated by when we buy. Profitability is dictated by how much we buy and what items we put on the PO. Everyone good so far? Because I got to add one more twist to this. Question. We got a question here in the back. Hang on one second. Will you turn up that mic a little? Okay. Courtney's going to bring you the other mic.
Okay, this might be a redundant question, but what if you've already put your order on to the ordering point and then the lead time changes? What do you do then?
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Okay. I call it a timeline analysis, and there's a little bit, but again, here's what you're saying is I placed a PO today. Mm-hmm. It was a 7-day lead time. I got the PO in there, and it's now 14 days. Correct?
Yes.
Now, just real quick, we go. If you didn't, first off, I just want to say a lot of us knew that and just didn't keep our system correct, and I want to throw that out there. So if we have bad data, lead times in our system, shame on us. That's the first thing. Now, let's say it was a surprise. We placed the PO, we waited for 7 days plus a little bit of safety, and the vendor gives us a estimated ship date, and it's 14 days out. That's probably how you came across this. Now, right now, I'm stuck. There's nothing magical, unless you can get them to ship it in 7 days, that's going to fix that for today, as far as that PO. Now, what can you do? I can go see if I have some branches I can borrow some stock from, because I'm going to have a 7-day stock out theoretically, right? I can implement what I call smart selling. Don't sell everything we've got on the shelf if they don't need it. If they come in for 100, ask them if they can take 50, and we'll give them 50 with the PO, and we do a lot of this today. It didn't matter 20 years ago when we were getting 1 turn because our warehouses are full. But with 12 turns, we don't have as much inventory. What's the other things I could have done? An emergency buy. My PO won't be here for 7 days, but I'm going to tell the vendor, go ahead and get some stuff on. I'll pay the freight. It's so important. Get it here in 7 days, correct, to fill that gap. Yep. And the other part, and I see this all the time, how many of you have a relationship with, if I used to ask this 10 years ago, you guys go, what's this guy crazy? How many have a relationship with their competitors today? And if you don't have your hand up, you better think about it. Because in your situation, if you don't figure out somehow to bring the stock in, your customers are going to figure out where to get it. And either you can go pay from your competition, that's crazy, I'm giving them business and they're charging me $1.25 for something I normally pay $1 for. Or you can have your customer go over there, let them try to wow them for a minute and not have your customer come back tomorrow. But those are, once you get in that situation, you're going to have to fill the gap, we call it. But now what's the end key? I got to put this fire out this time, but I'm going to learn from it. And if that, I'm going to ask the vendor, is this now a one-off, one-time thing? Oh yeah, our factory burned down. Won't happen anymore. Then I'm going to leave it. No, this is our new norm. If it's your new norm, you better get the lead time fixed so the next PO is correct. Fair answer?
Yeah.
But the 7 now, once you get there, you're either going to have to stock out or figure a way to fill in those 7 days worth of inventory. Okay. Any other questions before we move on? I need another. Do we have another mic back there that I can hand Jeff? Is that one working now? Or Courtney can bring it up here. She's closer. Oh, it's Roger? Oh, we got 2. And then I'm going to need one over here, guys. Hang on a second, JR.
My question is on the quantity that you would buy for the items that are in the include part. You would
This part.
you would have to adjust the quantities because you're ordering it quicker?
Say that again for me now.
Okay,
I'm
because
sorry.
you would have normally ordered it in 30 days, but now you're going to order it before the 30 days because
Well, the
you
system's
might
going
run
to
out.
adjust your
So this-
quantity. Remember, order cycle didn't say how much to buy. It said get me back up to a 30-day supply. So if I'm sitting here, I'm going to buy that quantity.
Okay.
If I'm sitting here, I'm going to buy that quantity because it's enough to take me out till the next time. What it says is, I don't plan on coming back for 30 days when I cut this PO. So I want to make sure I have 30-day supply of everything above order point. So theoretically, even if I'm 1 day below, I would theoretically buy 1 day's worth, which says I only had 29 days worth. I need 1 more day because I don't plan on coming back for 30. And your system will do that. Make sense? So I'm not buying a 30-day supply of everything. I'm making sure I'm 30 days supply above order point, taking into account what I already have, what's committed, and what's already coming in. Perfect.
Can we talk about how the vendors buy packages affects our ordering points? When you have to buy minimums of 50 or 100 or more than that,
Yeah, we're
which
gonna
will
do
be
that.
outside your parameters that the computer is selecting.
Okay, we'll cover that one in a minute. What came up was package quantities. I got to do one more, though, before we get there, and we'll get there. Because here's what I'm getting ready to do. There's 3 components that really affect the how much on the PO. Okay, so there's 3 things we have to look at before we determine the final, one of them being package quantities. Now, there's a second part I'm going to bring in here. What we did to calculate this line point, this order cycle, is we looked at target versus our selling power. I give you a little bit of logic to say, hey, if you can make it in 7 days, great. Let's go for that freight. The carrying cost is less on that 7 days than the freight. If you have to buy 20 months worth, don't go for the freight, pay the carrying cost, and you won't buy 20 because the carrying cost is less than the freight you're going to spend. Everyone there? So far we've started taking into account freight and cost to carry. We're starting to get a formula put together that says it's not always one or the other. It's the total of these two what minimizes it. Sometimes I go for freight, sometimes I don't. And even though it takes me 90 days to make freight, I'm only going to buy 30 days worth because it's less expensive. Now, what haven't we talked about yet? Because I said there was 3 cost factors. There's one more. Cost of purchase. My purchasing people, receiving, put away, and AP. So we still have to bring in our cost of purchase world into this to get our lowest total cost. Now, this is where you guys go, oh, I already know. They go, oh, I know where we're going with this. There's this thing out there called EOQ, Economic Order Quantity. And when I talk about it, all of you will be good. Later, I'll go through it, and then something will come up in the formula, and you'll do this at first, but I'm going to keep you away from the formula so you understand it. How many are using EOQ? It is very well proven. Just so you know, EOQ's been around for over a century, you guys. It's a very well proven formula, and here's all EOQ does. It looks at cost to carry and cost to purchase. Here we did order cycle analysis, I call it, and you'll see it later. To say what should it be based on these two to give us the lowest cost. And now we're going to get ready to bring these two in, and it's called EOQ. Now here's the overall concept of EOQ. If I've got something that's very, very, very expensive, it's $1 million unit, whatever it is it cheaper to put it on the shelf and pay that carrying cost, or is it cheaper to bring it in every time, spend the $4 per line every time I need to bring that item in? Dumb question, but you guys got the idea. There, the cost of purchase is much cheaper than the carrying cost on this $1 million item, right? Even at $4 a crack, and I'm doing it once a month. Let's go over to, not all of you, but little wire nuts. They're for thermostats, house wiring, but they're like 100 for a penny. They're not, but you got the idea. There's nothing to carry a bunch of them. So the carrying cost is very, very low. Now, my cost of purchase is $4. And what EOQ is getting ready to say is, you know, if you buy 30 days worth of this wire nuts, your cost to carry is going to be a penny. But a month later, you're going to buy it again and spend $4. So what did I just do? I saved a penny in cost to carry by only ordering 1 month's worth, right? But next month, I'm going to spend $4 ordering again. EOQ would come back and say, theoretically, go get a year supply of this. Did you guys hear what I just said? A year supply. Now, what's the carrying cost with Grant's analogy? For a whole year supply? 12 cents, right? Versus if I bought it every month in my model at $4 a crack. 4 times 12, how much? $48. Everyone see that? If I buy it every month, I'm going to spend $48 in cost of purchase to save 11 cents, the 1 cent I'm paying. Was that a good deal? Spending $48 to save 11 cents? Absolutely not. Flip that around. If I go buy a year's supply, what it just said was spend 12 cents, cost to carry. Now again, we're savvy on our items. It's not going to go obsolete. We're not doing this stuff with short shelf life. You know what I mean. It says go buy a year's supply of this stuff. Yep, you're going to spend 12 cents. But instead of spending $48, we just spent what? $4. We just saved $44 that cost us 11 cents. How would you guys like that investment? Invest 11 cents and make $44. Because that's what we just talked about. Does everyone follow that analogy? That's EOQ. Now, if you just followed that, I'll get you the formula later because I want you to take that part of it and go, that makes sense. All it's doing is saying, and here's what it's saying. If I've got an item with a high cost to carry, once I put it on the shelf, it costs me a lot to leave it there. What's EOQ going to say? Buy little of it and go through the purchasing process more often because it's cheaper to buy it than to leave it on your shelf. If I've got an item that's very inexpensive, what's EOQ going to say? Hey, it's cheaper to leave it on your shelf, go buy a whole bunch of it than to go through the cost of purchase world. And that's all EOQ's out there doing is figuring out what's the break even, the lowest between these two of how much you should buy. Got a question here. I'll take it over for you. Thanks, Courtney. Can you hand that back for me, Fernando, please?
How long does it take before you actually get this good data? And I only say that because we've been on our system for 8 months.
And you were saying what again? How long until what?
Before your computer's going to actually give you all the correct data.
You're there. Now, your computer was giving you the correct data the first month. Now, or we expand, but 8 months is far enough. If you have seasonality, what we normally like to say is you need 3 to 6 months. That's at least to get some patterns. If you're seasonal, you'll need 12 months because you got to duplicate last year. So 8 months in, are you very seasonal or not too seasonal?
No, not seasonal at all.
You guys should be on full boat. Full boat. Now, I'm going to share it right now just because it's going to come up. A lot of you are going to become believers, or you're already becoming believers, as we break further and further into this. And you're going to say, but how do we go back and fix our system? You said good data. A lot of you are going to go back, how do we fix everything when you figure out there's a better way? Because here's what you guys are going to do. You're going to learn this, and I already share it with you. You're going to start making a P-line list. We're going to go back next week and get these 2 P-lines set up properly, and we're going to start doing the purchasing with them. Then the next week, we're going to do 2 more. And then the following week, I can already tell you, if you're going down that path and you do this right, you'll only be about 3 or 4 weeks into your long list of the next year of what P-lines you're going to turn on. You're going, screw that, turn it all on. Because this system now, the way I'm using it on its worst day, is doing better on my best day. That's what you're going to find. And a lot of you are going to end up going back and doing a reboot on your inventory system. A lot of your systems haven't been looked at in 5, 10, 15 years. A lot of you don't know where your parameters are. The parameters are wrong anyway. A lot of you are going to come back and say, it's time to do a reboot. We're going to load the right parameters. We're going to get the right data in there. You guys are perfect. And let's go let the system start doing its work. All right? And I know that's going to happen with a lot of you. Any more questions before I bring us back to this? Okay. So here's what the system's now doing. It has this order cycle analysis. How often should I buy to minimize the total freight cost to carry? That's minimizing these 2 worlds. Then there's this EOQ world that says, how much should I buy to minimize cost to carry and cost to purchase? Now, traditional systems would go back, if you go back 10 years ago, they could either do line point buying. Hey, we'll minimize your freight and cost to carry, but has no clue about this. Or it can do EOQ buying. It's going to minimize your cost to carry and cost to purchase, but no account of freight. All of you have systems today that work the way I'm getting ready to explain, which takes both of them into account now. And here we go. If EOQ, let me just rewrite this because it's a little sloppy and get it back up here for you. All right, so here's the first thing it does. We know when we need to buy. We went below order point. We're the item below order point. And here was the lead time, 7 units. Here was the safety, 4 units. Here was the order cycle, 30 units, because it was a 30-day cycle. All right, so now we're getting ready to replenish. The first thing it's going to say is whether it's this item or this item. How many do I need to get back up to line point? Because that will be enough to assure till the next time I plan on buying. All right, so again, let's use this as our example. And it says, how many do I need to get up there? And let's say we're sitting on 8. So how many do I need to get back up to 41? 33. So it says 1 up to line point. I need to go buy 33 of these. And what's that going to help me assure again? I just want to make sure. Cost to carry and freight. The way we came up with order cycle, we're minimizing cost to carry and freight. Then it's going to compare itself to EOQ. And it says, oh, my EOQ quantity on this item is 40. Just making a number up. It's getting ready to buy 33, but EOQ says it's more economically, makes sense to buy 40 at a time. Everyone there? So it's going to take the 33 and move it up to 40. So it's going to make sure we at least come up to line point. We're assuring cost of carrying freight. And then it's saying, hey, get 7 more because it's a rather inexpensive item. Let's go up to the 40. And then the third thing it's going to do is rounding to end up with your actual quantity. Now, this one happens to come in a package quantity of 50. So what's it going to do? Sorry, back here. It's going to take this, and if the package quantity is 50, it's going to round the 40 up to 50. That's what's going to show up on my PO as the how much. It's going to make sure I get up to line point. It's going to assure I'm at least getting EOQ. It's then going to round if you're doing POs to vendor package, if you're doing transfers to transfer pack. Some of you have smart rounding, transfer or vendor pack, but then it's going to do your rounding, and bam, here's your PO. So here's a 23-second PO. Your system looks every day. Were the items gone below order point? I don't want to run out of that. I need to cut a PO, take everything back up to line point that's below line point, compare it to its EOQ, round it off to package quantity, push the button, cut the PO. All right, now there's more that goes into it as we get going, but that's where we're at. Now let me switch this for you for a second. It says we need to get 33 to go up to line point. We have to get at least 33. That's throwing less milk in the cart to make it every Saturday. And it says, oh, EOQ on this is 20. It's a little more expensive item. Everyone with me? How much should I buy now? I still have to get at least the higher because I still want to go out, because if I only buy the 20, and this is where we make mistakes, that's you guys taking it from here to here going, look at that, I only need 20, but what's going to happen 2 weeks from now? I'm below order point, but I'm not ready to do a buy. Everyone following how this is working? So it says, how many do I need to get up to line point? Assure it's at least EOQ. Well, 33 is higher than 20, so it says check. Now go around it. Oh, we're still going to have to get 50 because it's a 50 package. So it would have gotten the 33. Said we've got at least 20. Check. Now do the rounding 50. So here's the point that I'm bringing home. It's going to look at these two. How many to get up to line point from wherever I'm at, the EOQ, and take the larger of the two, which will assure our 3 cost worlds. Order cycle minimized freight and cost to carry. EOQ minimized cost to carry and cost to purchase. So when you use step 1 and 2 in conjunction, how much to get up to line point compared to its EOQ, take the larger of the two. We've just now assured at the lowest cost. What we've just done is looked at freight, cost to carry, and replenishment, and says this is the optimum quantity to bring in to help minimize freight, cost to carry, cost to purchase. Is everyone okay? Now, they don't keep coming home. You'll see me do a review. I'll use this a lot, but this is our purchasing world. And what I want to bring it back to is this. We started with customer experience, fill rate, particularly that I want to talk about, and profitability. Sell price, cost of goods, but then I moved into freight, cost to carry, cost to purchase. This order point, done right, is our fill rate. Whether you're buying 1 or 30 at a time, if you buy worthy items when it goes below order point, you're going to have a decent fill rate. Not 100%. You didn't see me this morning say 100%. It's not realistic. But you're going to have a good order point. Then, if you buy up to line point, compared to EOQ, you're going to now minimize the cost to freight, cost to carry, cost to purchase. So now you got a great fill rate at the lowest cost. This world is our service world, customer longevity. This world, how much we buy, is our profitability world. And I can break those two apart to line right back up with your company objectives. I can hit a company that always buys at order point but only buys one. They're going to have a great service, but their profitability sucks because why? They're buying it every day. Their transactional cost is killing them. I can go to another company that buys every day, so great customer service, but they buy a year's supply. Still have a great customer service, but their profit still sucks. Why? Their cost to carry is now eating them up. I'm showing you how to win both those worlds. What are the questions out there? Because this is the magic. This is what we're going to build as we go along. After lunch, we'll go into the detail. Go ahead, JR. Or is it JR or JL? It's JR.
Okay, so we're going to take the 33 to get the line point. Our minimum buy pack is 50. How does that skew the EOQ on the next reorder point is my
Well,
question.
it's going to. Okay, now remember, people first worry about EOQ. Let's first talk about that. Grant, let's do it. EOQ on this item is 300. Let me start with that. I only need it 33 to get me up to line point. You guys with me till the next time I'm going to buy? That works great for my milk because milk has a shelf life. But think about what, now I'm buying the little things that go on top of cupcakes, the little sprinkles. We're talking about, Pat, you're not going to open it up and get out 33 of them. That's the first thing, right? Package quantities. But the part I want to bring home here is they're going, there's no way, man, that's a 10-month supply. There's no way I'm going to bring in 300 because A, my cost to carry, and B, this is where you're headed. It's stealing from my next PO that I need to certain dollars to make target, right? That's where you're going. Now, what does EOQ bring in a lot of? Stuff that's very inexpensive. So if you get out there and look, you'll go, oh, it was $1 worth of item, all 300 of these. It's not going to steal enough from your next PO to affect it. Now, package quantity. If you only need it 5, and EOQ was 2. You guys with me? So I only needed 5 to get back up to here. I'm assuring EOQ, even if EOQ was 7, I'll just switch around. So I need the 5. I'm going to take the bigger of the 2. So now I'm buying 7. It's getting ready to round to 50. Now what JR's bringing up is, but that's going to steal from my next buy because I wanted those other 43 to contribute to my next PO. Well, here's what it comes down to. You have to break it or not. Now, most people we know if we break a vendor pack, it's going to cost you $50. Most of us don't think about it. I use a general rule. If I can buy up to vendor pack and it's less than a year's supply or 6 months if you're seasonal, I wouldn't spend any more time thinking about it because if we spend more than 2 seconds thinking about it and manipulating the system, we've spent more in your time than we save by manipulating the system because your time's also valuable. A, by your time itself, and B, the stuff that you guys keep telling me it's the end of the day and I didn't get all my buying done. And I stock out the next day. So I don't have a solid answer for you as far as formula. But where I'm going back to is, A, most vendors don't break today. If they don't break, you don't have a choice. You're either buying 50 or you're not buying. That's the first one. If you do have a vendor, we got a question, I'm going to line you guys back up for there. If we do have a vendor that will break, now you're looking at it, and again, these were 2-cent items, because that's what you're really coming to. So I just bought an extra $1 worth. It's not going to kill me in cost to carry to put it on the shelf, and it's not going to steal from my next PO. These are $10,000 each. This is a $55 million. You with me? I'm going to get creative, and either I'm probably not going to sell it. I'm going to negotiate really hard with my supplier. I'm going to buy in 50 if I got 50 branches and give them each one. I'm going to go to my local competitor, even though I'm going to pay 25% higher, and buy the one I need because it's still a better. You following me? Does that answer it? Yeah. Perfect.
So how do you determine the order cycle or review cycle? Whenever, in my experience, when I've let SX calculate it based on our target and our previous year's invoices, it sometimes it'll bring it all the way down to a few days, a week maybe, and it's just it's killing purchasing and receiving and put away. Whenever I manipulate it, you know, I know it's a bad word, but when I manipulate it, and put it out there for 30 days, everything seems to calm down some, and, we're
Yeah.
replenishing, but we're not working ourselves to death. So
Okay.
how do you determine the
And that,
review days?
this is a great story. Just because I can make it every 7, because your system said you could make it every 7 days. What it did, now again, it looked at your past. Now, I don't like one thing, and I'm going to show you on SX a better way. You said past invoices, and systems traditionally did what? They took how much you spent last year in purchasing. Oh, I spent $12,000 or $120,000 with them last year. $10,000 target. Therefore, $120,000 divided by 10,000, I can cut 12 POs per year. It just says every 30 days. But if I'm seasonal, it's not really true. You with me? It may be 7 days in the season and 60 out of the season. All of your systems have a way of now doing that differently, which I'll explain when we get there. So first, there's a better way to calculate order cycle. But here's what you're bringing up, and this is very important. Just because I can make target every 7 days, because your system's saying, hey, you're doing $10,000 a month, and it's a $2,500 minimum. You can make it in 7 days. It's not that you couldn't make it. Your people, your cost to purchase world, purchasing, receiving, put away, and AP couldn't keep up. Right, Eric? Is it Eric? Very good. So what Eric's pointing out here is just because I can make it every 7 days doesn't mean I have to. I have to get an order cycle that fits within the infrastructure of my company's capability. Now also think about what Eric just said. He can make it every 7 days and he beefed it up to 30. Consciously, he is making the decision to have 1/4 of the turns he could have. I'm making sure you understand that. Perfect. Everyone heard that? There's a decision actually to say, I could have 4 turns, I'm going to get 1 turn on this on purpose. All because if my folks can't keep up, we die, and it doesn't matter because I peed off all the customers. Almost said a bad word for you guys, kind of bad, but they're all gone, so it doesn't matter anyway. So here's where I'm going. I always run order cycle as fast as I can within the infrastructure of the company, and all of you have a fence on the review cycle calculation. When we get into it tomorrow, you'll see this. You get to determine what's the lowest review cycle I will let the system set. And are you SX? If you go into your ICAR, you'll see right on it, it says 7 days probably right now. You can move that to 30 and it won't calculate less than a 30-day order cycle. That's where, and again, you'll see it tomorrow. The point is this though, just because I can buy it every week, if my folks can't keep up, they're making a conscious decision to buy every 30 days. Now, I would push Eric's company to what? If I can buy every 7 days, but I'm buying every 30 because of my cost of purchasing, that's right for today, but I'm not done. That's the right thing to work it smooth today, but I'm always in optimize. So what do? I'm going to go change his order cycle calculator to say, when we're running 7 days, we can't keep up. Let's try 14 days as the min. Still can't keep up. 21 days, can't keep up. 30, we're finally keeping up, right? So we've mellowed, I don't even know the term I want. We've stabilized the system to your capabilities. Now, I don't like 30 days in the end. I want you to get 4 turns, not 1 turn. So the first thing I'm going to say is, what's your bottleneck? You're going to say, purchasing can't keep up. They can't buy more than everything. Then we're going to go in purchasing and go, what are we missing here? Oh, no one's giving us lost sales, or they're walking the paper every day. We're not using your system. We're going to fix purchasing. Oh, it's purchasing fine, receiving can't keep up. Let's go fix receiving. They're fine, AP can't keep up. And every time, there's going to be something with PET that I can apply. Processes, technology or education, and in the end, people, to speed that back up. And now I'm going to take out the bottleneck, and I'm going to take your 30 days, move it to 21. If we're okay, I want to move it to 14, and eventually you're going to hit what? Bottleneck again, right? I'm going to raise it up slightly and go look for my next opportunity to take out the bottleneck, and I'm going to push you guys to come all the way down to once or twice a week, but in a systematic approach that Eric's doing within the infrastructure of the company. So are you following that? Is everyone else following that? Order cycle is just a number. I still have to run it within what my company can do. Otherwise, I'm just behind and stocking out. And I have a lot of firefighters. And that's what it looks great, but it's killing your bottom line. Fair to go, Eric? What other questions? I've got one here, you guys. Hold your hand up just for a sec. Derek will be right there. Thanks for the patience with the questions, you guys, getting that mic up there.
Hey, so just to confirm, for the inputs to determine the EOQ, cost to carry, cost
And
to
we'll,
purchase.
we'll go through it in detail.
Okay, cool.
But EOQ is looking at the cost of the item, because it says if I'm a 10-cent item versus a $10 million item, how much I use of it. But the big components are cost to carry and cost to purchase. Okay. Most of you, again, are around a $3 or $4 cost to purchase, around 24% cost to carry. And in my anyone from Canada here, you guys don't pay taxes on inventory. You're actually around 20%. Who's my folks from Trinidad? Do you guys have to pay taxes on inventory? Do you know? If so, then you'd be at 24. Okay? But just Canada, they don't have to pay taxes, so they run about 20. But those two factors, and I'll show you the whole formula. The reason I don't like showing the formula now, I want you to buy an EOQ, because as soon as I show it to you, it has a square root in it. And as soon as you guys see square roots, you go, even though it made perfect sense, I don't do square roots, dude, so that's out. Your calculators do square roots great, okay? It's been around for over 100 years. Any other questions before I move us on? Okay. So think again what we've done here. We said fill rate, back to company objectives. We have to have a good fill rate. How did we get that? How much we use during lead time plus safety, our order point when we buy. All right, then we said what and how much. We brought in 3 factors: cost to carry, cost to purchase, and freight. 2 methodologies. How long does it take us to make a freight minimum, and is it worth it or not? Because there's an opposite side over there on Eric. Hey, it's telling me to buy 200 days worth. There's a max on your order cycle calculator too, and it says I never want to do more than 90 days, in the max. So it looks at cost to carry and freight, says this is how I get my order cycle. We then look at cost to carry and cost to reorder. That's how we get our EOQ. We've tied the two together and say, drive us up to the higher of the two to assure both worlds. We round it to vendor package. That's this world, the line point and the EOQ. That's our profits, how much. So is everyone seeing how this is formula that you've been using all along, these order points, these line points, EOQ, actually tie back to customer service and profitability? So if I need better customer experience, where am I working? I keep running out. Am I working below order point to fix it or between order point and line point? I keep having service issues. If I'm having running out issues, I need to buy sooner. It's something in this world, right? If I'm having profitability issues, God, I want better turns. You can't change your order point if you still want good service. I'm going to try to buy less more often for more turns. But they're 2 separate worlds, your service world, your profitability world. And I brought home one earlier, just to bring home what I'm trying to say. Most of us, you'll go back and do it differently next week. I ran out today. I bought 100 last time, so I'm going to buy 200 this time. That will not fix your service issue. It will be twice as long, but you're still going to run out if you don't change when you buy the order point. Okay, perfect. Last one then. So we need a decent order point. Is it going to be exact? No, but how do we get a decent order point? Because when we come back from lunch, I'm going to go over a couple things, and then we're going to start diving into how do we get a good order point. I can't look at an order point and tell you whether it's good or not. I have no clue. What do I look at? Is the usage correct? Hey, it says we sell 30 a month. Yep, I can see that's about right. Check. It says we take 7 days. I look at it. Yep, 7 days. Check. We're doing a 50% safety. That's the right amount of safety for this product. If I have those 3 checks, what can I now tell you about order point? It's probably a good order point. So when we come back a little while after lunch, I have to do a part first. We're going to say, how do I get a good usage, a good lead time, apply the right safety, i.e., get a good order point. Then I've got to come in and how do I get this one? Targets and buying power. How do I get a good order cycle? How do I set up EOQ properly, i.e. then, how do I get a good line point in EOQ? So we're going to come back and show you that. Now, having a great order point and a great line point, there's one more part we have to bring into this. I'm not sure if this will pick up on our board, but we're going to see. We keep saying, when we go below order point, it's time to replenish, okay? So we've got a good order point, good line point, EOQ. When what goes below order point, is it time to replenish? Availability, and I'm going to take it a step further than that. I forget what SX, but most of us, you'll understand. I'm going to call it purchase net available. Some of it, if you're on shims, it's called stock level. What's A plus call it? Your on hand less your committed plus your incoming. Who's my A plus users? I think it's purchased not available, right? Then it's my fax users. What does fax sheet call it? Well, it can't be available because there's because available is theoretically available for sale. On hand minus committed.
On hand minus committed plus on order.
Is available. What's on hand minus committed? Because that's the one you're using to tell your customers whether you have it or not. I think there's a different term. Might be future available. There's a term, I can't, but you guys know what I'm talking about. If you're looking for a customer, how many I have available today, come on in, that's on hand minus committed. If I'm looking at how much I need to bring in, I'm looking at on hand minus committed plus what I have in the pipeline coming in. I'm going to call it purchase net available. You guys know what I mean. So here's where I'm going. On hand, right, minus committed plus incoming. Now, what brings it commits inventory? Let's just make sure we have this down. Orders, warehouse transfers, and if I'm doing any type of assembly, work orders, correct? All right, and then what brings inventory in? Well, the other side of that WT, if I'm the receiving branch, finished work orders, of course, right? And POs. Oh, those four same transactions we've been talking about all day. That's what your people actually do all day. All of our people is something to do with this right here. Now, here's the point I'm bringing home. Grant, we got the right usage. We're logging lost sales, the right parameters, the right lead time. We've got a good order point, the right order cycle, the right EOQ from what we're going to do this half, the right line point in EOQ. And let's just say this is 11 again and 41. If I do all that work but don't shore this up, it's all worthless. What if the system thinks you have 50? You really don't, but your on hands are wrong, but it thinks you have 50. What's it telling your buyers? You don't need to. Nothing. It's not exactly. It's not telling them squat until it goes below line point. So even though you're out of stock, we're sending customers away disgruntled. Your system, and everyone's going, the system's broke. Is the system broke? No. The data on it is broke. Our on hand is not 50, it's 0. So inflated on hands. Now this is where I come back where I say everything that we can talk about for the next 3 days will either be, in the end, this big picture, customer service or profitability, because I've really spent a lot of time. It's both. An inflated wrong on hand is going to cause what issues initially, first hit? Customer service or profitability? Customer service, right? Because it says, don't worry about it, we've got it. And that we don't have it for our customers. So we're going to have customer service issues, which will turn into profitability issues. What about the